Hey, it's Wade, and in today's video, I think I'd like to talk about Detective Pikachu. Yeah, that's what I decided on last time, so that's what I'm going to do. The reason I want to talk about it, I know it came out a few months ago, but almost 2 months ago, but I just saw it. I just watched it a few days ago. So it was actually a movie that I really wanted to see in theaters, but I didn't. I just, was doing other stuff at the time and didn't go. That usually happens. I usually just don't go see the movies I want to see and then watch them 2 years later usually. But this time I didn't wait that long. So I had heard about the Detective Pikachu movie being put up on YouTube by Ryan Reynolds or something like that. I don't know. And my brother sent me a link of it and I just didn't click on it, didn't watch it. I was planning on doing it later. I finally did earlier this week. So I clicked on that link and started watching. And the first 2 minutes, it was legitimate. It seemed like the movie was actually happening. But then it turned into just this loop of Pikachu dancing to some music for an hour and 40 minutes. So it was just a giant troll. It wasn't even the actual real movie. When can you find a movie for free on YouTube? So it's to be expected, maybe. But yeah, it was pretty funny. I laughed at that. But yeah, it wasn't the real thing. So I had to go find it on some other website. And yeah, I watched it. And I have to say, overall, I enjoyed it. It was satisfying to see the world of Pokemon put into, a live action, not corny movie. Like how those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies from the 90s were pretty corny. I still loved them as a kid, but yeah, it was just the world if, Pokemon were actually real. So it's pretty cool. And I'd actually like to see them do more of that, make some more movies like that. They don't have to be Detective Pikachu movies. They can just be Pokemon movies. It could be about Ash or just other new characters or whatever. But yeah, I just want to see more from, the world of Pokemon. I've got a few questions about it. But yeah, even though I did really enjoy the movie, I had some, problems with it. So, did the movie make sense? So it wasn't really till the end of the movie that these problems arose for me. But some things I really liked about the movie. Just how they drew in everything from, not everything, but a lot of things from, the games in the world of the Pokemon that they've been building. In the movie, there were Pokemon cards that he had, and that one moment in the movie where Pikachu, Ryan Reynolds, was singing the theme song from the cartoon, I thought was pretty great. And I really appreciated the little details, like this one moment when Pikachu said, "Sweet mother of Arceus," because Arceus is the Pokemon that basically created the universe from the 4th generation games. So I thought that was really funny. And it's just a good installation. But it kind of made me wonder, is that canon for this movie, the world? Did a Pokemon create the universe? Or is it Pokemon God? Do humans, accept the fact, or do they worship Arceus and Palkia and those other space Pokemon that created dimensions? Yeah, but that's kind of to be unanswered. Another question I had, this isn't a problem with the movie, it's just something I'm wondering about the world. We saw, there's lots of Pikachu drinking coffee because he's obsessed with coffee. But we didn't really see any eating foods happening in the movie. And I really wonder, do people in this world, is everybody in this world vegan? Or are there people that eat Pokemon? Or are there animals that aren't Pokemon? Because there's the cow Pokemon, there's Taurus, and I forget the one from the 2nd generation with the udders, it's just a cow. Are there just typical cows, but then there's also cow Pokemon? Or are all of the animals in the world Pokemon? Because then I wonder, it seems, every single Pokemon has, human level intelligence. They just can't speak words that humans understand. So, would there still be humans that eat animals the same way people eat animals? And how would the Pokemon react to that? So that could be interesting. Maybe too dark for the movie, for a children's movie. People eating Pikachus and stuff. But still, I was curious about that. Especially, well, okay, this might be getting into spoiler territory now. So I guess from now on for the rest of the video, spoiler warning, Mewtwo's thing was that humans are evil and they exploit Pokemon. And I wonder how far does that go? How far do humans really exploit Pokemon? Like, are they going to the extent of eating them or farming them? Yeah, and then it makes me wonder too, because in Rhyme City, Pokemon battles were outlawed, or at least frowned upon. I'm not sure. Probably outlawed. So then, is like Pokemon battling seen as exploiting your Pokemon, or is it only in Rhyme City, or are they just trying to avoid, because if Pokemon are into the battling also, if it's consensual battling, why is it outlawed in Rhyme City? But the part where it gets into the problems, so there's a few twists in the movie, but the last twist is the moment where I was like, wait a minute, what? Why is that the choice they made, and how does that make any sense? So the very final twist of the movie is that we knew for a while that Harry, Tim's dad, the main character's dad, wasn't dead. We just didn't thought maybe Mewtwo had him or something. But then it seems pretty clear from the moment that you find out Mewtwo can merge the souls of humans and Pokemon to make them into one, that's probably what happened with Pikachu. That's why it can talk and stuff. So yeah, it turns out that Pikachu is Harry. Pikachu is Tim's dad. So this whole time, his estranged father he's been actually adventuring with and getting to know. Which, at first pass seems like sweet and nice and everything, but it doesn't actually, I don't think it makes sense. So at first it's like, okay, but then when you see Ryan Reynolds actually physically appear in the movie, then I'm left with some questions. Tim's dad and Pikachu, when he was just thought of as Pikachu, they had the same exact voice. How did Harry not recognize his father's voice? I know he hasn't seen him in years, but it's not like, especially when you're in your 40s, your voice doesn't start changing drastically. He had the same voice after the fact, too. Because, even if he was his father as Pikachu, they could have used a different actor and, I don't know, explained it away that Pikachu altered his voice, which would be weird. But still, just the fact that he was going around with Pikachu for days, talking to him, and he didn't think the fact that he had the same exact voice as his father was a strange thing. I just feel like that was an oversight in creating the movie, in the process. It almost feels as if the decision to make Pikachu his dad didn't happen until late in production. That was a twist that they added on after the fact, because I don't think it was thought through. He didn't recognize his voice, and not just a voice thing. I mean, anybody would probably recognize their father's voice, especially he spent the first, 11 years of his life with his dad, at least. That's a long enough time to get to know a voice. But also the personality. I know that Harry/Pikachu had his memory wiped, but still, would still presumably have the same personality as Harry did. So he didn't recognize the voice. He didn't recognize his father's personality in combination with the voice to this Pikachu. I feel like it should have been quite obvious to Tim that this Pikachu was his dad. Unless maybe he was explaining it away in his head that because Pikachu was his dad's partner, he was imitating a lot of his personalities. But still, if that was the case, out of at least a mention of that, him thinking that out loud or something to explain. But there was no explainers. It was just he didn't realize. And so I suppose with the personality thing, there could be an explainer for that. That say, being in the body of a Pikachu changes his personality, made him more hyper or cute or silly or whatever than he normally would be. So that could explain it, I guess. I'm not really sure how you explain away the voice thing, but there's one more problem that I had that was kind of weird to me. So why could Tim understand Pikachu but nobody else could? It could have been explained, if it was just at the beginning, halfway through the movie, you're kind of led to believe that it was a special hereditary thing that Tim and Harry had that they could both understand this Pikachu. Maybe they had some deep psychic connection with him or something. Turns out not to be the case. It's just Harry. But if Harry is just in a Pokemon and he can talk, why can't anyone understand him? I feel like it should either be everyone can understand this talking Pikachu because this talking Pikachu is secretly a person, or this talking Pikachu is so thoroughly a Pikachu that nobody can understand him. So I think it's quite strange that Tim and Tim alone can understand him. And why? Just because it's his father? He somehow... It didn't quite make any sense. Yeah, and then I wonder, all those people, for the few minutes that it happened, that got merged with their Pokemon. So now can those Pokemon speak? Say, if the Asian detective dude has a son, and for the few moments that he's a Snubble, could his son also understand the Snubble? Like, is it just a father-son, or a parent thing? I don't think it makes any sense. So I was fully on board with the movie up until that last point, and I still like the movie. But those just few things just kind of threw off the logic of the movie a little bit for me. And I feel like that's one thing I'm good at, is just accepting the logic of the movie as it's introduced. But then when a movie kind of like diverts that logic, changes it, or a TV show or whatever, they disrupt their own like canon, their own things they've established. It kind of I lose it right there. But one more thing that I don't know what the deal is now that Pikachu and Ryan Reynolds are separated, that kind of, it would seem at least, throws off any possibility of there being a sequel for Detective Pikachu. And yes, I know that there are rumors, apparently they are working on a sequel. But I wonder how that works, because Detective Pikachu no longer speaks. He just says Pika Pika. And then Ryan Reynolds is just physically a dude now. So is it going to be Ryan Reynolds and Tim guy going around on adventures with the Pikachu sidekick that just, helps out in the typical Pikachu fashion rather than the anthropomorphized Pikachu fashion? Because I feel like that loses a bit of its charm then, that the Pokemon that the movie had. Or are they going to, for some reason, re-merge them? Like, he's going to be like, I liked it better as a Pikachu. Or is that going to maybe happen to him again involuntarily? Who knows? But yeah, I just feel like it's a strange point to leave off the movie if you're planning on doing sequels. But overall, yeah, the movie was still really enjoyable. I'd like to see more, and that was pretty good. I think next time I'll actually do the next episode of that series. I called it Designing a Board Game. That series, the first video I did. How creative a title, I know. But yeah, I think I'll do episode 2 for my next video of that. Designing a board game. But yeah, till then, thanks for watching.